Hello and welcome to Yoga by Campi. I'm Campi. Thank you for joining me as I travel around with my trusty mat. Today I'm in Penang in Malaysia and we're going to be talking about the psoas muscle. So all you need is a bit of headspace to listen, somewhere comfortable to listen, and we can begin. So the psoas muscle, I think, is one of my favourite muscle groups in the body. It forms part of the hip flexors. So the hip flexors are in this area here. They do things like lift the legs, or if you're bending over, they'll be involved in that. But the psoas muscle is a really incredible, important muscle because it connects to the top of the femur, the leg bone, and it goes all the way up through the pelvis, wraps around to this lowest part of the thoracic. So like where the lower rib cage is, it connects the back body to the front body, but the lower body to the upper body as well. And because it's the only muscle that goes round, like across over the pelvis, over the front of the pelvis, and also to the back of the body. It often stays short and weak because we sit down a lot. Now, the psoas muscle is a muscle that's really important when we get into our fight or flight or our sympathetic nervous system. The point of that is we have to fight, so we have to stabilise, so it'll be a muscle that's involved in stabilising us so we can put up a good fight. Or if we need to run, it will power the legs so we can run. That psoas muscle will power those legs so we can run away. Or if we freeze, we curl up into a ball to protect ourselves, it will contract so we make the body as small as possible. So nowadays we rarely have to run away from a predator, and we rarely have to fight for something. In terms of freezing, I think we freeze fairly often because we sit down behind our computers for our work, or on the sofa, or traveling, or whatever it is. So quite often we are sat down in, let's imagine it is that freeze position where we're contracting that psoas. So the signals there will be we are in some sort of fight or flight, some version of our sympathetic nervous system. We want to ideally be in the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, unless we need to activate, unless we need to fight, fly, or freeze. Nowadays, like I was saying, we don't have to run away. We don't have many threats. But we do have lots of things that will flip us into sympathetic or a version of fight or flight. Things like WhatsApp groups or email notifications or partners or children dealing with emotional stresses or issues of themselves. It can be that we're not having these big moments of sympathetic, which are important. It's part of our nervous system. We're having these small trickles throughout the day. So we're possibly staying more stressed than we might have been years ago when we were having to run away from predators or fight or freeze. Because those were moments. And what would often happen, like you'll see it in something like a dog or a duck. If something happens that's stressful, like two dogs have a bit of a tussle, they'll go away, then they shake it out. A duck will do the same. It will shake it out. It will release that pent-up energy, the stress, out of the body. What happens now is we sit down. We have these small trickles of stress throughout the day, but we don't release it. We stay sat down. So it's really important to get movement into the body. So if your job does require you to sit down for a big part of the day, set a timer. So once every hour you get up, you walk around, you do some stretches for your hip flexors and your psoas muscle. I'm going to show you a really great one for the psoas in a minute. You shake it out. If you realise you've got stressed about something, you can go for a walk to let it out. See if you can become aware of how your sympathetic nervous system might be activated throughout the day. The psoas muscle is also called the muscle of the soul because it's like a catch-22, or like a vicious circle or a virtuous circle. So if you stay stressed, this will possibly stay tight, contracted. But if you keep this contracted, you may feel more stressed as well. So it's about trying to release the two. Release the mind stress, but also release the body stress, the body tension. So this is an amazing exercise, amazing stretch for the psoas muscle. What we do is we come into a 90-90 position with the legs. So a 90-degree angle here, and a 90-degree angle, roughly. No one's going to get a protractor out. Then I'm going to twist to this side so you can see me. Same arm as the knee that's up. Place the hand on the inside. Other arm reaches all the way up. So for this, you're going to keep your shoulders square. So imagine there's two walls and you're just sandwiched between the walls. Take that arm up. If you think about this psoas muscle connecting from the upper leg to the lower rib here, we want to stretch the bulk of it here. So as we reach up, we tuck the pelvis under, we keep this connection with the hand. Reach up with the hand, make your body as long as possible from this left fingertip, on my left, this reached fingertip to the lower knee, and then just tilt over. If you tuck the pelvis under and keep reaching up and over, keeping the shoulders square, I feel a really lovely deep stretch in this part of the body. And I imagine this is really stretching out that psoas muscle. So like with any stretch, we need to hold it for a few breaths to allow us to really get into the stretch, get into the body. Slowing your breath down, breathing in and out through the nose will help you get into your parasympathetic as well, so will help you relax. And when you're ready, you come up through center. We do the other side, I'll show you from the side. So 90-90, tuck the pelvis under, hand on the inside of this raised knee, other arm reaches up and over. So imagine you're, from this point here, stretching down, stretching up. Reach up and over, tilting across to the side. Whew. As you release, you may feel like little crystals kind of dissolving, or like a release kind of poppy feeling, not an actual pop, but just like a let go. Keep tucking the pelvis under, keep reaching with those fingertips and coming up through center. So try that. I mean, try that regularly throughout the day, but if you know you've got tight hips, that's a great one for that. I have a class as well which is all about the hips, so it will be linked after this. Please follow that, because I think it's really important we release that muscle. Just make your life gentler, more easier, create more space in your body, especially your psoas, and also your mind. Thank you for listening to me. I hope that was useful to you. Find other classes on the hips. There's loads on my channel to help you release any tension you have there. Carry on releasing the tension of the mind and having a smooth, beautiful, peaceful day ahead. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again for another class. Until then, namaste.